Hello and welcome to Data, Exhaust, Pipeline, Telemetry, and Automated Orchestration. Today is the 13th of May, 2021, and I'm thrilled to be able to join you via the Testing Festival 2021 from the QAlead.com. My name is Todd DeCapua. Wanted to share some insights and some little tips I picked up along the way in my career and where I am now and why I think this is critically important for all of you as testers and quality individuals to think about all of the data that not only you're generating, but your applications are and that you have access to and how you can benefit from it. So as we look at our agenda, I want to start with a product vision, go into a problem statement, visualize how this could end up looking and why that might be important for you or for your customer or your employer. Then I'm going to do a demo. Then I'm going to talk about a little bit of a journey and maybe where you are in the journey now or some of the steps you have coming up. And then lastly, we'll end with some questions. As we look at this product division, this was actually from some work that I've done. And as you think about kind of this flow, what you'll see is I've referenced down in the corner here a quote from scrum.org, and you can see how we're following this through the product vision. I found this is something that's extraordinarily helpful. As you think about what is it we're setting out to deliver with this product, you can see you could take this and then reuse it as you see fit. So for, insert company name, who, this is what they need. So again, we're looking for things like telemetry, insights, detection, diagnosis, and then being able to predict what's going to be happening in the future. This monitoring product is an integrated and standardized end-to-end solution that derives relevant reliability insights by function and role, also by time and by purpose. So again, as we read more into this, you can really start to see how expansive the vision is for this product. The next bullet becomes very interesting in that we're talking about, unlike existing standalone point solutions, we need to build this simple and automated onboarding along with self-service throughout. Lastly, this product will collect, organize, and process telemetry data. So these are things like signal data, content, knowledge, and then also deliver decisions making and reasoning in real time. And again, when you think through that title that we were talking about automated orchestration. That, I believe, is where most of the value from whether you're doing a digital transformation or following your journey through Agile, DevOps, and SRE and the implementations thereof and practices. This is where we really start to see the massive amount of value is that automated orchestration that's happening. So what is this problem that we're kind of exploring a little bit? Well, on the top here, you can see what your typical CI/CD pipeline would be. And as somebody who's a professional tester or QA individual, what you will find is you're injected at different points within this process along the top. Again, this is very simply a generic example showing how going from code to commit, also bringing in some potentially related code for our build, and then going through the unit tests, integration tests, all throughout that CI pipeline. So then we get to our CD pipeline where we're now reviewing the builds, the code qualities, moving them into a staging and also into our production environments. So as that's moving through the CI/CD pipeline, which we've all become intimately familiar with, and again, yours may look different, but this is a generic example. And down on the bottom, you can see this is our metrics and events pipeline. So I call this data collectors, aggregation, correlation, and then ultimately getting to results. On the left-hand side, if we start there on the bottom, you can see we have collection, and then we move to ingestion, storage, processing, and to action. As you think of all the different ways that data is coming in, view those as collectors. So you can see some of the pieces that we've put down here into words, logs, metrics, traces, events, and then all the way down to things like APM or, how about your asset catalogs that exist, or all the different logs that you're able to pull in. So again, all of these are just collectors or collections of data that are coming in. And again, these come in as things move through the above CI/CD pipeline. Then we want to publish this telemetry somehow. We then are going to be able to ingest it in a variety of ways. And again, you can see that I've listed out a few of these that you may or may not be familiar with. Storage-wise, again, how do we store that data, whether it's the metrics, the logs, some of the historical bits, or thinking about knowledge graph and having access to data in that way. As we move into processing, again, you can see the 4 different boxes that we have here, but this includes things like correlation, decision-making. This is where some of the machine learning, some of the predictive aspects will also come into play. Lastly, action. So this could be anything from different types of views or reports, dashboards that your customers may or may not want to have, but you'll have them available to them based on their requests, all the way down to this automated orchestration element that would come out from that action or those results. So this, you can see, becomes very complex, especially when you start thinking about it at a enterprise level and knowing we have all of these different collectors on the left-hand side, and we need to get to automated orchestration on the right-hand side to realize this value from digital transformation or the transformation of Agile, DevOps, SRE, and everything else that we've all been working so hard towards for a number of years, and also a number of years into the future. So I ask you this very, very complex question. How is it we can aggregate? How can we correlate? How can we make informed decisions leveraging all of these different data collectors? How do we automate that pipeline for speed, for quality, also at a low cost through a proven and innovative practice? So again, this is that problem. This is that question that we have to reflect on. So when I suggest that we visualize this, I often look to sometimes a book, sometimes some blog posts, sometimes other experts and professionals in the industry. This is a book that I was fortunate enough to co-author with Shane Evans with O'Reilly as our publisher, titled Effective Performance Engineering. If you were to go to page 40, you would see this sketch. So this sketch is something that we've called quality gates. And again, this has kind of become a standard since it was published in 2016. This is a practice that I've been doing since 2006. So again, been around for a while, but when we think about moving through these environments across the top and some of the different bits on the bottom here in the middle that you can see. So again, building our standalone build verification environments. How is it that we're running all of these different tests in an automated way? We're creating that data. Again, this becomes data that gets generated through the pipeline, through the variety of environments. At the bottom are these quality gates, and these are automated quality gates. So you can see we have different percentages. Some of these say XY percentage, JUnit passed as an example, or 100% successful deployment. So these are things that you could automate as you're moving through your pipeline and collecting this data, but enabling you to move quickly with extremely high quality and knowing what those thresholds are, being able to report on them along the way. You may even be able to start predicting what would be that quality of that release in production based on the historical data that you have, not only for how they performed in your lower environments, again, thinking about functional, security, performance, you're going to have all of these results coming through your lower environments and then from production as well. So now you could compare build to build as you're moving things into production based on what you're seeing in the pre-prod environments. So again, here's how you can start to visualize this piece working in your environments today. Now I'm going to go ahead and go into this demo. We're going to move very quick, 5 major points that I've laid out to hit on. So, thinking about how do we kick off some sort of automated test? So no matter where you are, you've got different types of tests that you're running: performance, security, functionality, maybe usability, unit tests. Again, all of these are included in this automatic kickoff of validation. The example we're going to use is going to be a simple performance scenario. Then open telemetry instrumentation. So again, this is becoming more and more mainstream in many organizations today. I'm going to show you how you can quickly and easily pick from a variety of different source datas, elements, and then also quickly instrument leveraging open telemetry. Next, we'll go into showcasing some of the results of how you can interactively work throughout a single location, a single tool, to start looking at everything from APM to RUM to something called Splunk on call to log observer and also infrastructure monitoring. And then we'll go into this data and looking at how it's automatically captured throughout your pipeline and being able to look a little bit more deeply into those metrics and the events that are happening. Lastly, we'll start showing some of those visibility into the actions. We can look at some of the automated orchestration. And again, this will apply to things from operations and IT, as well as to security and many, many more different scenarios in your environment. So with that, let's go ahead and get started with the demo. And what you're going to see here is we're starting off with the web mobile desktop. Again, this can be performance, functional, security. For this example, we're doing a simple load test. And as you see, we're running some scenarios. These are some of the results that we're having come back. You can see this is from an AC2 run. Now we can look this up in Splunk itself, see the data coming in. As we now come over to Splunk Observability Cloud, we're going to touch on all of the products that we just saw. This is the setup. You can see all the variety of data connections you can have. We are now connecting into a Kubernetes instance on Google, and this is the Helm repo setup. So again, you can copy and paste this directly into your CLI, and that'll go ahead and get that installed. Again, using Helm, this is a quick demo, events and metrics that you can see set up. So as data comes feeding in, you'll see that. This is real user monitoring within that Splunk Observability Cloud. So again, everything you typically want to see from RUM, but these are as your users are seeing it, some of the critical business flows that they're going through. So we're now looking at CART specifically. You want to see what browsers are using. You want to see what geographies they're coming in on. You want to see what the different performance, their latency is. This is latency on CART as an example. And you can see that as we scroll, there's a variety of different transactions and the different latency in the matter of seconds that are showing up for us. Now we're diving into a specific use case or a specific session that happened. As we scroll down into that session under CART, we're going to highlight a couple here, and we're going to dive a little bit deeper into this one session and understand what's going on. We're now able to see the specific span ID that's happening, some of the different tags, also performance summary. We can see over 49% in the database, 50% in the network. Now we can see we could go right into the workflow name itself and specifically open that up and see more details of exactly what's going on. So again, kind of more of a typical waterfall. We can now see the services that are running. As we look through that waterfall and the span performance associated with it, we can see all the different elements and how much time that's taking. So 620 milliseconds for the CART DB query get cert. Good thing we only do that once. This is more of an SRE view that we've created with an APM. So again, able to see the error rates, latency, some of the top business workflows, and then also workflows by duration. And you can see the different colors. The pinks are reflective of those that are the issues. As we come into this specific workflow, we can see what's big and red is having a problem. So this is within our payment services service. And as we look to the right, we can see the errors. We can now dive deeper into that, and we can see the highlighted pink for where the specific issues are. But again, all of this within a very quick and easy interface, single click, and you're getting results. This, we just wanted to go deeper into the logs and see what was going on. So as we clicked on that, these are the logs. As we look through that, we can see that the issue is with the version 350.10 of that service and failed payment processing. So we want to go ahead and add a filter. Now we can now see all of those issues that are happening across that service. We can look at them for that one specific version as well and see what's going on. And again, as we look through these logs, there's a few different ways we could look at it. One of the ways is here with the historical. We can see the different metrics that are showing through. And then as we kind of go through, we can go to live or streaming. So these are real time as they're coming off of our Kubernetes pods. We're able to now see everything that's going on real time. We can go back, look back into that 15 minutes again into our logs and see exactly what's going on. Trace ID, span IDs, the versions. Now we're able to flip onto infrastructure. We want to see exactly that pod that's running and the services of that payment service running on top of it. You can see all of the details associated with that. And then as we click, we go back into the payment service. So we can now break it down by the different versions. And you can see that 350.9, there's actually no issues, but 350.10 is where all of our issues are coming from. And as we go a little bit deeper to look at those requests and errors for that payment service, again, we can see that the errors are occurring all at that one level, and specifically within that Kubernetes node. So again, it's just happening at the one node, at the one version of this service that's running. As you look at the tenant level, you have different levels of customers. So again, maybe you have a premium that's going to be at the gold level, and then you have kind of a middle customer who'd be at a silver level, and you want to see what those service levels on your hosts are specifically. So now all of this is available also in Splunk. So what we can do is start going into Splunk Enterprise, and this specifically is IT Service Intelligence. So if you wanted to have this up and running as well on one of your NOCs, as an example, you could see all the different services that are running within ITSI, lighting this up as well with all the data that we just looked at behind it. And over on the right-hand side, we can see all the different KPIs that are out there and available. We can also see some critical and high episodes that are occurring and when and where those are all happening. As we click on the specific KPI, so disk space used percentage, we can now see where we're having some issues with running out of disk space. So again, you can click on that specific entity and get into more information. This is something called episode review. And you can see the mean time to resolve, episodes by severity, the total noise reduction by having the machine learning and predictive analytics of Splunk, and then episodes that have been acknowledged and that mean time to acknowledge overall. And what we're doing here is we're looking through the different episodes and how they're associated with each other and the relationship across other services and infrastructure components that are coming through specific to this on-prem database issue. So again, very easy to have that one view into the episodes. And as you see this drop down that I'm hitting all the way at the bottom, you can send it to Phantom. You can also send out alerts. This is where those alerts are automatically triggered and the pages would go out to the appropriate parties to go ahead and resolve that issue. Now, there's also something here called Deep Dive, which with a single click, you get this view back where you can now look across all the different data elements that are coming in. Again, just another way to quickly view and get access to your data, all within Splunk Enterprise, ITSI, or IT Service Intelligence. Again, you want more detail behind it, it comes up for you. So again, all this going back to where that source of truth came in from that data. So again, very easy to see, where are these issues being caused, where are they going on, and how we can get into more details. Of course, you could add in more KPIs on the right there and bring them into your overall scenario if you like. So within Victor Ops, this is where that paging and alerting notification system lives. So here we can see the different items that have been triggered through alerts. And this one is specifically triggering on an API storage issue and some free space percentage. The team can go ahead and reroute this. We can take notes in it. It's all searchable. But this becomes that single point where teams can collaborate on issues and incidents so that we can reduce the amount of time that these are open and quickly resolve them. So Phantom gives us another way to even more quickly. And this is where the automated orchestration comes into play with playbooks for operations and IT as well as security. And here I'm just navigating through quickly. You can see the playbooks, how they're going to be executing in these steps, and then the actions that will happen. So now as we think about the demo and we kind of start thinking about this journey, what you can see is there's 4 different stages that I've laid out for you to consider. And as I've worked in the industry for 25 plus years, been in a variety of different organizations and roles worldwide, having a chance to consult with over 100 organizations. These are some of the things that I've picked up along the way. And depending on where you are, you could be in stage 1, where you're starting to think about this from a data platform or a data to everything platform and preparing for that data-driven future that we all know is here and continuing to drive forward with us. Stage 2 is where we start to get into some of the more complex and some of the more cloud native aspects. So thinking about this from a real-time monitoring metrics perspective, starting to get into some more of the observability and APM capabilities. Distributed tracing becomes a critical factor for us in stage 2. And then also looking at some of the more cloud native, open source, as well as machine data and the predictive learning aspects that we're all desiring from that. So again, that's stage 2. As we move forward into stage 3, this is where that collaboration across the organizations and really having that single focus, the single tool, the single source of truth comes into play. So again, collaborative incident management, being able to prevent and resolve incidents more quickly. And the prevent word is the real big word here, because again, as you've seen, having everything in a single location in the demo, when we went ahead and touched on a few of the other points around the automated orchestration pieces, you can see how with those playbooks, again, you're now collecting the data, you have playbooks ready to go. And as those events or incidents happen, you're now able to automatically trigger those, or even more importantly, from a predictive perspective, as you're being able to predict and or forecast when they will be happening, you can go ahead and take measures prior to having an event occur. Again, this is how moving into stage 3 and through it, you can start to see the collaborative nature of it, having that single source of truth with all of the data in it, and then also being able to prevent as well as resolve incidents, even to the point where before they're happening. Stage 4, this is where we have full-on automated orchestration across all of the different security and IT scenarios. So in this model, again, think about a heavy cloud, heavy service-oriented architecture, everything running through all of your data platform, being able to see the real-time nature of everything that's happening, having that single source of truth, being able to predict when things will be happening, and having automated orchestration kick in before that happens. So again, these are the 4 different stages that this journey lays out for you. And again, kind of figure out where you are in the journey. Maybe you're already at a stage 3 and working in those areas, but you want to look back at 1 and 2 and say, hey, have we really gotten those done? Or is that something we could focus on a little bit more? I also wanted to provide to you some useful links. So these are things that we've covered through in the presentation, we've covered in the demo, also ways that you could go and learn a little bit more. So you'll see 6 links at the top. Then we get into how is it you could get access to free Splunk, as well as some free education. There's also a somewhat unknown, it seems, as I speak to more and more people, called Splunkbase. And Splunkbase is kind of like an app store, but for Splunk. So as you think about how is it that I can quickly and easily get data into Splunk, this is a great repository of thousands of apps that have already been done and written and up there and available for you to pull down. Most of them are free. So again, I encourage you to have a look there. Then a local user group. So Splunk has a very active user community. So even if you're not a Splunk customer yet, Go ahead and check it out. This is a very friendly and casual way people share, learn, and also network with each other, given that we are in the pandemic still. Most of these, if not all, are virtual. So think about it. Now you can go out and have a look around, see what might be of interest, jump in, listen, learn a little bit, share a little bit, and network with a couple key folks. Encourage you to check out the local user group. I happen to lead the Delaware one, so if you follow that link, it'll drop you right to our page, and you can see what we have coming up, as well as the recordings from prior sessions as well. Lastly, this little PS is if you want to see some of the value of Splunk and some of the bits that we've created for COVID, just go ahead and follow that link below, and you'll see a variety of different dashboards that are available to you. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, transition from this session of data, exhaust pipeline, telemetry, and automated orchestration, and we can go ahead and get started with some questions.